like, I get it. There's times that life can be, you know, very strenuous for me as well. I think sometimes people see me, being a preacher, preaching the word constantly and encouraging other people. I think sometimes they forget that I go through my own trials and I need encouragement at times, and sometimes when things hit me, you don't always know who you can turn to get that encouragement from, because you don't want to always hear those cliche things, those cliche sayings, if you will. And I'm the type of person also that I don't want to necessarily talk to somebody that's going to just agree with me, for the sake of agreeing with me, for the sake of being on my side. I want to talk to somebody that's going to give me both sides of what it is I'm dealing with, in that moment. So there are times that things can be very stressful for me as well. And it'd be some days that, like I said, like that Job situation, you feel a little bit of grief, but in the midst of it, you have to remember where you came from, where God brought you from, and find that worship down on the inside, find that worship through his spirit, and worship him, and listen to his word, and say some words of prayer, as many as you can, if if you're feeling down like that. Because I'm telling you, as a preacher, I remember years ago, and this was something that I never necessarily ever thought I would be doing, or when I got into the church thought I would be doing. I never looked at preachers, I saw they had the fabulous lives. They were like the movie stars up there, everybody, moving to their beck and call and all of these different things. But I never saw that as something for me. I think because of some of those things, I was like, I don't know if that's something I would necessarily want to do. And then obviously I understood, according to the scriptures, you can't do that anyway, or you shouldn't be doing that anyway unless you are called. So I never was impressed necessarily by the preaching or the lifestyle of the preachers or the influence of the preachers. It just was what it was. It's like, okay, this is the person that is giving out the word. They may be the pastor or the bishop of the church, and they got all of these people that they are helping, and obviously these people are helping them. But unfortunately, you have some that, they're not necessarily helping the people. They're just being helped or taking advantage of the people. And, even seeing that, I'm like, man, I don't want any parts of that. I came from the streets. I came from selling drugs and hustling and doing all these things. So I know what hustling looks like. I know what selling something to somebody looks like. So I'm like, I don't want any parts of that. But lo and behold, the Lord did call me to preach his word, to be, one that shares the gospel, preaches the gospel, encourages his people, equipping them, helping them to get to the place where he would want them to be. And I remember him calling me into the ministry and putting that calling on my life. And I remember, there was a brother in the church that, because he was I think he had become a minister at this time, but I think he ended up being a deacon and then a minister. But I never, had the opportunity to be a deacon. I went straight from, just being in the congregation to being a minister. And I remember him saying something like, yo, you wasn't even a deacon before, even though, it's not like you have to be that, but I understood what he was trying to say. But it just went to show you, like, that was something for me that wasn't expected. But what I find, and I said all that to get to this point, what I find is that I don't think people understand, some may that have the calling. I don't think people understand sometimes how hard it is to be called to preach God's word, but also in this day and age with all of the things you see. And like I said, even looking at other preachers' lives and all that, like really trying to maintain a lifestyle of doing things in an honest way, and what do I mean by that? A lot of times when people see that I'm preaching or, that I've been preaching for a while, or that they see me with the YouTube channel and the subscribers, they automatically think that I'm making like a ton of money. And that's not true. Obviously, you monetize off of YouTube, which I get paid money every month just for the monetization purposes, but it's not a whole lot of money. But there's this assumption among people that I'm making all of this money, whether it's off of YouTube or just preaching alone. Like when people hear that you preach, they just automatically think about all the other preachers they know that have all of this money and that are doing all these things and driving these nice cars. And I'm like, that's not my life. You know what I mean? I still work, I'm working, I do several different things for work. Like as far as driving, I do like delivery stuff, like little contracts for delivery, food and different things like that, media stuff. Also, obviously with the podcast and doing those types of things, but I'm not making a whole lot of money at all. I'm thankful for what God has done for me, but according to what people probably think I should be making or believe that I should be making, I am not making that. And, and I'm just really being transparent because, these are things that I don't always necessarily share with a lot of people or with many people at all. But I'm sharing this because I want you guys to understand that you're not the only ones that go through and deal with things, and, that sometimes sit and be like, wow, Lord, I wish you would open this door for me or do that for me. Because what I find is that as a preacher, a husband, a father, now a grandfather, I'm actually going to see my granddaughter tomorrow for the first time. My mother and I are going to be heading down to Virginia. I'm a 44-year-old grandfather. My daughter, she had a daughter, so I'm going to see little Brooklyn tomorrow. Will be my first time seeing her, because my daughter's about 7 hours away, so it's kind of hard. And with the COVID thing and with the kids being out of school, it's just been tough to get down there. So finally, by the grace of God, we'll be getting down there. So with all of these types of different hats on, striving to try to live an upright life by the grace of God and through his power, trying to do things the right way, not take advantage of the people, but still not be where you want to be, whether that's financially and just in certain areas, sometimes is difficult. Because I feel like if it was just me, if my only responsibility was me, a lot of things I really wouldn't be worried about. You know what I mean? I probably could live in a 1-bedroom apartment, do my videos, go to church, do what I got to do there and be fine. But because I have all of these other responsibilities and I'm tied to all of these different individuals, whether that's family, whether that's friends that need my help at times, whatever have you, sometimes it's difficult because sometimes I feel like people, they expect so much from you, not understanding that, listen, I'm just human. I'm just trying to do the Lord's work, something that I never thought that I would do. Y'all gotta excuse me. I'm trying to, y'all gotta excuse me, because I don't think people understand how in this society to do the Lord's work and try your best to do it the right way and still be looked upon and by people be expected to do so much. You got individuals that may feel like I'm not helping them enough. There's individuals that's around that feel like there's things that they should have had already that because I don't maybe make what these other preachers make, or they see these lifestyles, they feel like, I just don't want to do these things for them. And it's like, listen, all of y'all, my friends, my family, just all of you out there, all of my loved ones, I want to help you as best as I can. If I can give you everything that you ever wanted that I believe would not take you outside of the Lord's will, I would. But me being who God called me to be, me seeing people taken advantage of all the time and things of that nature, I just want to do things the right way.